Hi everyone, it's your girl Tori. It is Lucky with Tori episode 3. Today we're talking about the 80-20 rule. Remember last episode I said we're going to talk about it. I'm going to teach you guys how to decipher, between both. Because this year's our breakthrough year. So yeah, let's get into it. So the 80-20 rule is a parental principle that essentially says 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. I was first introduced to this concept with this book, Sound Like Crazy by Sabri Subi. Obviously, as a business owner, I need to sound like crazy. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, this guy is onto something. Let's think about it in life. As a business owner, 80% of your income is coming from 20% of your clients. The clients you know are constantly recurring and coming back. Your tasks, 80% of your progress comes from 20% of the tasks you actually do. When you have an assignment due, you know you've left it to the last minute. How quick do you get stuff done compared to when you're procrastinating in between because thinking that you're doing stuff, but not doing stuff? And remember, as well, in the last episode, did I not talk about how a lot of times we think because we're busy, we're being productive? Did I not talk about that? Because I know for a fact I did. I'm just here to help us so that this year coming in, we're breakthrough, we're taking over. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to identify the 20%. When identifying the 20%, you need to ask yourself questions. Instead of saying, what keeps me busy, you want to ask, what actually produces results? Let's say with fitness. A lot of times online, there's so much different exercising and stuff to do. Let's say with glutes, for example, there's RDLs, hip thrusts, split squats, abduction machine, step ups, all of these stuff. But then everyone's body is different, and you have to ask yourself, what exercises actually work? When I activate my mind muscle connection, what am I doing that I can actually feel it in my body? Because really and truly, a lot of things happen when you simplify stuff and when you work with what actually works. It saves you time, number one, and it means you're moving more efficient as well, and also avoiding burnout. One thing you find is technically with our goals and certain outcomes, you want to work backward. Let's reverse engineer this. So, for an example, from a business perspective, you can literally ask yourself, which services get booked the most? Which services bring me the most money? Which social medias work the best to bring in clients? For me, for example, I never put in as much effort into my TikTok as I did my Instagram. But a lot of my clients were booking me from my TikTok, even though I barely posted it there compared to my Instagram. And looking back at it, I'm thinking I should just focus on TikTok then more. When you reverse engineer, you also realize a few services actually bring in the money. For me, it was my lock extensions and sew-ins. Those brought in the most amount of money for the least amount of effort compared to braids and so on. Another question you need to also ask yourself is, if I stop this, would this affect me? So let's say if you stopped doing a certain task and everything is starting to fall apart, then that's how you know this is the tasks I need. But if you stop doing something else and nothing really change, then that's how you know this is a task that you don't need. For example, let me just relate this to business. I got to a certain point for me where I didn't need to post every single day. In fact, so that I'll go 3, 4 weeks without posting and I still got customers. And then it just showed me that posting isn't as needed anymore for my business. But that's because I got into myself to a place where my brand was big enough for people to just look at it and book it because there's enough results and everything. So that would mean my focus would go to other things. Let's say maybe making my clients' experience in real life better for them. That's what my energy can go into rather than just constantly posting. Do you know what I mean? Looking at your energy, not just the results, your energy. When you do the 20% that works, one thing you will feel is you still feel refreshed. You don't feel drained and depleted. When you're doing the 80% and you feel like it's working and you keep yourself busy, you tend to feel scattered, we feel burnt out. Another example I can say for me, sometimes I will spend the whole day just doing admin and all of this stuff. And I just be like, at the end of it, what did I do? Do you know what I mean? Whereas the days I spent instead of just replying just to clients, I get way more done, way more conversions out of the day compared to when I'm just there tweaking my website, tweaking all of this stuff. Because there's some things you just don't need to do. Some things you're better off paying off somebody else to do it, if I'm being completely honest, because that will save you more time and stress. So that's it. Look at your energy. What makes you feel depleted and drained? And what do you do that actually feels like you feel productive or you feel like you can even do it again? A lot of times as well, the 20% that actually moves the needle, they're repetitive, they're tasks that can easily be repeated. To figure out the 20% that actually works, You want to ruthlessly cut things rather than just adding things. Sometimes when we want to be more productive and do more, we can just add things on without thinking of what to cut. For example, again, speaking for myself, I go to the gym. However, there's lots of people that manage to lose weight and get to their body size without even going to the gym because before they even added any working out, they cut out, I'm not going to eat junk food anymore. Or I'm not going to buy takeaway anymore. I'm going to make sure I just cook from home. Automatically, someone that's already cooking from home, even if you're eating maybe not the healthiest options, like maybe sugary popcorn and all this stuff, but you make the popcorn at home rather than buying it from the store. You've already put yourself at a better advantage to reach your goals. Do you get it? Because you're cutting out processing, the external processing. And everyone knows home cooked meals will always be better than whatever's outside. Do you know what I mean? So before you're thinking of adding stuff, let's cut stuff from our routine that is not needed. And then as well, you see the 20% that's actually helping you. So these are three questions I put out there that you should ask yourself as well. One, what were my top three results from this week? Two, what actions directly caused them? And then three, how can I spend more time on those actions next week? Have you ever seen the plan of when you do the hard thing first in a day and then you just feel so much free because you've done what you need to get done first, and then the rest of the day you could just either chill or do whatever miscellaneous stuff. It's kind of like that when you need to think introspectively to understand your behaviors so that you can keep what you know is working well for you and get rid of the rest. Because like I said, 2026, this is our breakthrough year. We are breaking through to get there. So for this part of the video, I'm going to talk about the 80-20 rule, but with self-improvement. I feel like self-improvement applies to everyone. Because not everyone's a business owner, not everyone is in fitness, all that stuff. So let's just look at self-improvement. Like the 80% fluff, for example, we got planner, mood boards, what else? Aesthetic looks. Like those things are nice after you've done the 20%. But I feel like sometimes we get so stuck in the planning and the thinking without actually doing. And then we ignore the 20% that actually matters. The number one 20% that matters. When you have enough sleep, you're just starting your day already better than the rest of the population nowadays. Next, body basic. Before, if you've never been, let's say to the gym or something, before you even go to home, wait, how about you just take a walk outside? How about you let your body just take a 15 minutes a day? Why don't you start off small? Simple things that we can just add to a routine. I promise you, just clear your head. You need to go touch grass. Oh my goodness, this is a big thing as well because this is something I've done. Your environment, changing your environment or making your environment in a way that it makes it easy for you to achieve your goals. When you set up your environment in a way that makes your goals easier for you, I promise you everything will be easier. For example, because I'm in a different environment where I have to drive to the gym group, whereas where I was before, I could walk 30 minutes and I'm at the gym. It's affected how often I go to the gym. I can still go to the gym, but if I go, I'm now basically working using more brain power to move, to do things. I'm working against more resistance. But if you know you're someone that always goes on your phone in the morning, how about you get actual alarm clock to wake you up and you hide your phone somewhere else? And also a big thing, one identity shift over many habits. There's certain things you want about certain goals, certain things. It's just changing your actual identity. Identify, oh, I am a person who enjoys studying. I am a person who is good at learning. I am a person who constantly wants to progress in my career. Like when I say everything comes from the mind, it starts in the mind. When you have that identity shift, automatically there are certain habits that you would just do more and certain habits you would also cut off because you've changed how you think of yourself. You're changing how you show up for yourself. And that can also help you as well identify these are the 20% of actions that will push me more and enforce my belief in this identity shift. Now, we will talk about as well how to spot the 80% that's wasted energy. So, number one, am I consuming more than I'm applying? I'm someone that listens to so many self improvement, self this, self that. I love it. But sometimes I realize when you listen to so many self improvement stuff, you might convince yourself to think that, oh, wait, I'm actually being productive, I'm actually improving. But until you actually apply it, you won't actually realize whether what you're doing is working or even if it works for you. It's same too as well if you're a creator. How many of you guys consider yourself content creators or even business owners, whatever, but most of the time you're just consuming content rather than creating content? How else are you supposed to know what's gonna work. Even storytelling, all these skills that the big creators and all of that have. How can you work on improving that skills if you're just consuming content the whole time? This is for me too. That's why I'm here talking to you guys. Also, does this make me feel productive? Or am I being productive? That is a very important one. I was saying there's so many things to being productive. Ooh, I'm gonna get my matcha tea. Sorry guys, I don't listen to guys, but yeah. But what's actually doing for you? If that's giving you a daily dose of coffee, and if you're walking to the coffee shop, keep doing that. Because at least getting fresh air, walking, doing something. But if you just want to go out to go get a cup of coffee to avoid the fact that you got an assignment in, or to avoid the fact that you got a deadline to give in something for work, then you know you're distracting yourself. And you have to keep yourself accountable because who else is going to do it for you? And the last thing, if I stop this, would my life change? I think that's self-explanatory. If you stopped it and your life did not change, it is part of the 80% and you need to get it out. Get it out. Please. Thank you. So let's look at a simple 80-20 reset that we can do. And these are 5 things that I'm challenging all of us to do together. And it's very simple. So everyone knows their own work schedule, none of that. I know the sleep time that works best for me is not the same sleep time that works best for you. But ideally, you want to try and sleep at the same time most days. That's the first thing. Then I also want us to move our body daily. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to the gym. In fact, let's keep it simple as well. Because remember, it's the small things. A 10-minute walk outside and you build that up so it's more than enough. 10 jumping jacks if you would in the house. That is literally more than enough. Then you need to eat at an out 80% of the time. Fill yourself up. I promise you, if you feed yourself properly, unless you have any underlying issues, you'll just feel better. And then shape your environment so that your goals are so easy to achieve. Shape your environment so it helps with your identity. And the last thing, just one uncomfortable thing daily. Whichever task you feel like is the hardest or anything, just attempt it and do one. For me right now, I'm making this video. These are stuff I talk to myself and stuff, but now I'm talking to you about it. I'm making this video. Usually as soon as I wake up, I would just run around scurrying, let's call this. But instead I said, no, I'm gonna come and speak on camera today. I'm doing one uncomfortable thing and I'm making sure today I'm literally batching content. If you guys see me in the same attire and setup, because I'm batching my content today. I'm doing one uncomfortable thing for me because I realized the next day is coming up, I'm working. There's no more holiday or holiday to throw, holiday to finish. So instead of me trying to find time during the holiday to film content, I'm filming my content now. So that I can be consistent in how I show up to you guys. Can you see? Can you see? And if you guys want me to do a specific versions for business, fitness, self-improvement, just like look, I can even put it in the comments for you, whatever you guys want. But I just wanted to come on here and talk about that to you guys. Bye.